And then she actually called it the bingo button. Bingo button.
For heaven's sake, that's the cold open. We haven't even introduced the book. You can't just lead with that anatomical atrocity.
Why not? It's the only thing anyone remembers. Forget plot. Forget character arcs. People walked away from A Love Catastrophe by Helena Hunting, scarred by the bingo button. It's truth in advertising.
Welcome to Heartbook Radio, where nuance comes to die. We are supposed to be discussing A Love Catastrophe, a contemporary romance novel, which some have apparently found charming.
Charming. Or, darling, based on the sheer rage in these reader reviews, charming is what you call the rash you get from cheap polyester. This book is a weaponized cringe delivery system. The author apparently thought, what if Asmentura was a woman obsessed with cats who overshared about her bodily functions? Genius.
That is wildly reductive. The protagonist, Kitty Hart?
Oh, let's stop right there. Kitty. Her name is Kitty. She works with cats. Talks like a cat sometimes. Actual. Or my Katniss dialogue. People. Her drives a cat-themed car. Probably bleeds tuna brine. This isn't a character. It's a bad Etsy store come to life.
She's a kitty whisperer, a social media influencer who finds homes for cats. It's meant to be endearingly quirky. She suffers from, well, a lack of filter.
Lack of filter. She tells the main dude, Miles, and I quote, "I've hugged your penis with my vagina." That's not quirky. That's grounds for a restraining order. Or at least a very awkward HR meeting. Can you imagine? Brenda, we need to talk about your penis. Hugging metaphors in the break room.
It's an unconventional way to discuss establishing intimacy, I'll grant you. But Miles, the male lead, is dealing with significant emotional weight. His mother's dementia, the sudden responsibility of her unique cat.
Unique. He calls the poor, hairless thing the gremlin. Prince Francis. The cat is the only character with any personality. And Miles treats him like a furry paperweight. And don't tell me Miles is interesting because he's a grumpy hockey nerd. The only hockey mentioned is probably on a novelty mug. He's blander than unsalted crackers. I bet his idea of foreplay is organizing his sock drawer.
He's reserved. He's processing grief and stress. Perhaps Kitty's ebullience is meant to contrast with his stoicism.
Ebullience. Is that what we're calling the relentless, soul-crushing avalanche of cat puns? Oh, my Katniss. Poor fect. It's like being waterboarded with bad jokes. One reviewer called it a gong show of cringe that was physically painful to read. Physically painful. From puns.
Well, humor is subjective. Some found the banter delightful. One 5-star review called it cracking and perfectly adorable.
That reviewer is clearly related to the author. Or possibly the cat. Another one just said, absolutely effing torture. And someone else called it a digital dumpster fire. Which, honestly, feels about right. My body went into full cringe mode just reading the quotes.
But the central romance. Some readers appreciated the low-angst approach. No contrived third-act breakup, just two slightly awkward people navigating life.
Low angst. It's low everything. Low stakes, low chemistry, low believability. The most dramatic thing that happens is she trips over air, and he tackles her in the Meet Cute. It's slapstick trying to disguise itself as romance. And then the bingo button. We have to talk about the bingo button.
We absolutely do not.
Oh, yes, we do. We got a listener email, okay? Fine. I imagined a listener email from Mortified in Milwaukee, who asked, "Is bingo button the least sexy phrase ever uttered in the history of language? What do you think? Ever used that one yourself?"
That is entirely inappropriate. And frankly, after your disastrous defense of that sentient swamp creature in Galaxy Gladiators Need Love 2 last month, I question your judgment on all matters romantic.
Hey, Grognak the Glorious had hidden depths. Unlike Miles' beige wallpaper, Thorn. At least Grognak didn't describe intimacy like calling numbers at the senior center. Okay. Hypothetical. If Kitty Hart were a sandwich, what would she be?
Why do you do this?
Answer the question.
Fine. Judging by the descriptions, perhaps something overly sweet, unnervingly bright, and containing an unexpected, slightly alarming crunch. Like a marshmallow fluff sandwich with pop rocks and cat hair.
Yes. See? You get it. It's trying too hard to be cute and ends up vaguely unsettling. So, the big question, is this book actually any good? Beyond the puns and the button.
It attempts to blend heavy themes like dementia and grief with light-hearted, quirky romance. For some, this blend is jarring, almost disrespectful. For others, it's a comforting, low-stress read. The execution, particularly the dialogue and the sheer volume of quirk, seems to be the primary point of contention.
Contention? It's a war zone. People either think it's the cutest thing since kittens in teacups, or they want to launch the book into the sun. I mean, one reviewer literally asked, "Maybe I'm just rotted inside," because they didn't find it adorable. This book causes existential crisis.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the ratings, your final, considered verdict.
Considered. Please. This book is pure chaos. I give a love catastrophe. 2 out of 5 emergency vet visits. You laugh. You cringe. You wonder if you need therapy afterwards.
How colorful. I, on the other hand, rate it 6 out of 10 migraines induced by secondhand embarrassment. It wasn't torture, as some claimed, but the quirk factor requires a hazmat suit.
So you're saying you liked it?
I'm saying I survived it barely.
Right. Well, that's all the catastrophe we can handle for one day. Tune in next week, when we tackle the underground sensation. My vacuum cleaner achieved sentience, and now it judges my life choices.
Oh.
You've been listening to Heart Book Radio. Don't touch that dial, unless it's to turn us up.